Chris here with another quick tip for you all. In this video, we're going to take a look at painting an Imperial Fist using the Citadel Contrast color system entirely. You can see here we have our little Primaris Marine. We're going to make him an Imperial Fist. We're going to start off with using Xandri Dust as a primer. And similar to the other example of using the Imperial Fist with contrast, we are going to do a very similar thing here. So just very quickly here, we are just going to lay this down using the primer. Of course, very quickly. I'm very fast with that primer. This is all real time here. Joking aside. Anyway, so really quickly, we're just going to lay the primer down, making sure that we're got fairly good even coverage all over the model, as you can see here. And so next, as you may have guessed it, or you've watched the previous example, we're going to come in with some Rathbone. We're going to spray this from the very top of the model, creating basically a zenithal pre-shade on this model. So we're going to spray this straight down at the model. So the nozzle's pointing right down the very top of the model, and that is it. That's all the paint we're going to lay on there. And that's going to create all our nice little bright high points, as well as give us some little darker midtones along the bottom portion. Now, reason using for the browns and such like that instead of like using gray, or you've often seen with other pre-shades, is that it will not react well with the yellow. It'll actually create very dull tones, and staying warmer tones will give us a nice thing. We're using Untitled Yellow here with Citadel Contrast, and we are going to apply this very generously as we work our way around the model. I'm simply using a Citadel shade wash brush, and as you can see, I'm applying it very generously around the model. I do recommend you do apply it in this fashion, and you simply can just move it around if you see it pooling up just a little too heavily in areas. It's very easy to use. It's very almost intuitive, really, to move the paint around, and you can see where it's gathering into recesses as the color does build. And you can see just really quickly, wherever we're working, we are just going to move the color. If there's any tones that are just a little bit too dark, we can simply move the paint around and just draw it out of the excess. If there's just a little too much paint pooling up in any one particular area, we can dry our brush off and use it like a syringe and draw the excess paint out, as you can see here. So we're just really quickly working our way around. Nothing terribly exciting here. Again, with this Untitled Yellow, you can see already we can get the really bright tones, the darker mid-tones, as well as the shadow points. And this is an alternate way of doing Imperial Fists, because here you see we're drawing some of the excess off of flat areas and such. And this is an alternate way of doing these Imperial Fists, for anybody out there who wants to do more of an orangey yellow. Once it's dry, you can see here how it looks. And you know what? Just like that, I'm okay with that. I mean, we could finish the rest of the model off, but I'm okay with that look on the model. So anybody out there who doesn't want to spend a whole lot of time doing Imperial Fists and want to create a very kind of convincing kind of look for them, by all means, do that. But we're going to go a little further. Dorne Yellow is next. This is an edge color, although this might change systems in the near future. And I'm using a small dry brush, and I'm very lightly just capturing edges and high points. Again, we created a zenithal pre-shade with this, so I'm trying to catch some of the high points, trying to keep most of my highlights on the upper portions of the model and central areas, as well as just picking out some edges and such. So it's on top of the feet, just the top of the knee pads, and anywhere else I can catch panel lines and such, just to bring out all the details and really add dimension to the model. You can see we're just simply dry brushing the top of the helmet, not top of the shoulder pads as well, just building a little bit more color up there. On the top of the backpack, again, we're going to allow a little bit more color to build up there. And after the dry brush here, I'm actually kind of happy with how it looks at this point as well. So again, I mean, finish the rest of the model off, and you got yourself an Imperial Fist. It doesn't get any easier than that, really. We're going to continue on. Contrast the Black Templar. This is going to be obviously for all the black areas. So we're going to paint the bolt gun, the little doodad on his belt. Looks like a little reliquary kind of thing, or whatever it is. And of course his hair and anything else we think is black. Oh, then the chest eagle. I actually end up forgetting about the chest eagle, and so I'll end up going back to that later on in the video. But the engine nozzles, the little cabling in behind the limbs, like in the elbow joints, and, all those little areas where you might want to have black. And with the black, I'm only applying it in one layer because a lot of people really want to see what this stuff looks like when just applied with just one even layer. Of course, you can always apply more than one layer if you want to really saturate the area and build a nice flat, even color. Here you can see I'm just allowing a little more to settle on the top of the head there and leaving just a little the outer edges a little bit grayer. Wildwood is next. This is for the leather bits. So this is going to be for the holster, the little pouchy on his belt, as well as his bolt gun strap. But again, anywhere else that you think the brown could go. And I showed this in the previous example of an Imperial Fist, and I'll show it in this example using the same color. I actually probably could have used a different brown for this one just to kind of show off some different browns. I'm really not that clever, so I forgot all about illustrating those kind of things. But for anybody who's playing with these paint system, feel free to try out other browns. The browns in this range are really fun. I really enjoy them, and I think that really, they're probably one of the gems of this paint system. So once we're done with that brown, we're going to come in with some Guilliman flesh. Again, I could probably use a different flesh tone just to show variation, but I'm not that clever. So just really quickly here, we're going to really saturate the area with this color. And you can see here, I just simply slap it in, work it in. And again, I've been using the shade brush, their shade wash brush, the entire time for this model. So I'm not using any detail brushes. I'm not using anything. I'm basically just using the one brush and applying this in a method that I think a lot of newer people might go about doing this. And so this is the whole purpose of these videos, is to show that it's easily done for anybody out there. The same as the alternate method in which we showed previously, I had applied Rathbone base color onto the purity seals and any other cleanup little areas. I forgot to show it during this video, but I did do it here. And again, I'm using the skeleton horde to do the parchment. Again, I like that. Just gives me that aged paper kind of look. Next is Flesh Terror's red. Again, I probably could have shown a different red, and this is going to be for the purity seal as well. But again, if we had applied this onto the gun scopes or anything like that for the lenses, or power cables or what have you, we definitely could have shown those as well. But that is it as far as the contrast color goes. Here you can see I'm applying the Black Templar to the eagle, because again, I forgot about it. So we're going to go back. Again, Chris is not really that clever. And you can see we're just going to do the chest eagle, and pretty much the entire model is finished. And so for anybody out there, this is an alternate way of doing an Imperial Fist with the Untitled Yellow. I really like this one. This one I think personally is my favorite. I'm not a big fan of the brownish yellow of Imperial Fist. I prefer the orangey yellow. I like it, and I liked how this guy turned out. And so this is a lot of fun. I definitely would recommend it for anybody out there. And thank you for watching. Happy wargaming. We'll see you in the next one.